If you had told me last year that by this time this year we'll be having a child and I will be doing a naming ceremony for that child, I wouldn't have believed you at all. But here we are. It is what it is. As the title and thumbnail of this video suggests, actually, I am humbled. Forgive me, I'm laughing, but yeah, it has reached a stage that I have to laugh now. I am not the same person I was last year. And the major event that has contributed to my change is actually this, our third baby. So let's dive in. For many of you that are shocked by this news, maybe you just saw it on YouTube also, just know that we were shocked. That's Fibz and I, since 9 months ago when we found out that she was pregnant. So I know that you all came for the naming, and this is something that definitely we're going to do. But I just wanted to share our experience from the entire journey. I'm going to summarize it. It's going to be as brief as possible. Then at the end, I'm going to reveal the names of the baby to you. So please bear with me, as I believe that you're going to learn something and maybe be encouraged by this our humbling yet awesome journey. This our third child actually challenged me in 3 major ways. And the humbling experience came from me realizing how little in control I am about life generally. And you know, as a medical doctor, part of your training is to actually be in control of situations. But even in the practice itself, many things happen that remind you that life is actually bigger than you. And there are some things that are just beyond your control. Some things beat your medical knowledge and expertise, and this helps you to remain level-headed and also become relatable to a lot of people, both your colleagues and your patients. The first way that this pregnancy humbled me was the conception. And this is quite a very interesting one. Unlike our previous 2 children, Ellis and Noe, their pregnancies were actually planned. And the conception was even within the time. This one was not really anticipated, per se. We were shocked. And that's because we were very careful when it came to the contraceptive measures and the rest. But many times, life can shock you. But all these medical contraceptions actually have very, very good success rate. But sometimes they might be among the 0.0 or 0.1 or 0.3% that contraceptions can fail. And we happen to be among those despite our carefulness. So in December 2023, that's early December 2023, precisely 8th of December 2023, my wife had missed her period for a couple of days, and she's someone that has a regular period, and I'll begin to suspect that is it that she could be pregnant. And she was so sure of the contraceptive methods, and she was saying like, no, she cannot be pregnant. So we had one pregnancy strip at home that she decided to use, and it was negative. Then the following day, there was still no period. And knowing my wife, I know how regular her periods were. I was still doubting. And then one day I just walked to the pharmacy and got a more sensitive pregnancy strip and brought it to her. She was shocked because I didn't tell her about it. And she was like, but she did the test previously now, blah, blah, blah. I said, just do the test. She went to the bathroom to do it. And unlike the previous one, she took her time. I now hollered her from the living room and said, how far now? Why you gone the tea? Or why were you taking this long? And then her response was that, I am not understanding what I'm seeing. I was like, what are you seeing? It's like she's seeing 2 lines. And eventually, yeah, that's how we found out that she was pregnant. And it was not anticipated because our second baby was just roughly 8 months old. And she just finished recovering from taking care of this baby at an earlier age, and it was quite challenging. So now even the thought of having another child was quite traumatic to her. And for me too, I was thinking about that stress. So I just went into the room and took my Bible I read something from 1 Peter 5 for those that are Christian. And it says something in the Living Bible. But let him have all your worries and fears as he cares about you and is concerned about everything concerning you, something like that. And I went to meet her and shared the same thing with her. I told her that you cannot be depressed or sad because of the arrival of a baby. No. I know how many people spend millions of naira or even thousands of dollars just to be able to conceive. And so we having a gift of a baby shouldn't be something that will bring us down. Yes, there are challenges, but we have to also know that every cloud has a silver lining. And if God allowed that, then we'll be able to do okay. So, despite our carefulness, despite all the contraceptive measures, my wife got pregnant. I have a colleague. She was conceived while her mother had an IUD. And IUDs are one of the most guaranteed way of contraceptives. But she even came out with the IUD on her head. So some of these things happen. This does not in any way discourage you from using contraceptives. But some of these things happen to just a few people. I will happen to be one of the few people. As a medical doctor, I was like, wow. First one. Then the second way the pregnancy humbled me was that, okay, my first two children are girls. I really don't send, but somehow I had this bias and I was praying that, okay, could it be a boy? And I was somehow hoping that it was going to be a boy. But I'm not really that bent on it also. If it's a girl, good. Then when we went for scan around her 16th week of gestation, the scan revealed that it was a girl. Then my wife booked for antenatal, I think about a week later, and she was being scheduled for another ultrasound scan 3 weeks later, which she went, and when the scan was being done, the doctor in the hospital now said that he cannot determine the sex because it looks like it's a boy. So she should come back after 2 weeks and they will repeat the scan. She did so, and when the scan was being done, the doctor told her that, and it's a radiologist, told her that it was a boy. You can imagine the excitement when we found out that it was a boy. I actually didn't follow her for the ultrasound scan, and someone recorded the video, but I couldn't really see evidence of it showing the gender. We actually did some subsequent scan, and it was being revealed that it was a girl. So these are some of the things that you think you're sure, and then you find out you're not sure, and the rest. And this happens to a lot of couples. I have read about some couples that had even done scans late in their pregnancies, and then they went to give birth and found out that it wasn't the gender that the scan had revealed also. It happens even to the best of radiologists. Sometimes children can be very funny. The advice I will give you is that in case you are not too sure, when you're buying your baby clothes, just buy baby neutral clothes. That's going to help to a large extent. So when the baby eventually comes out, the baby can wear those clothes and then can go and pick whichever color you prefer. So that was the second way that the baby humbled me. And the third one was when it came to the delivery. My wife has had one of the smoothest labor and delivery that I know of. Like during the first pregnancy, in between the time the real labor started, when she was in the active phase of labor, and when she delivered, it was around 4 hours or so. And for the second pregnancy, it was even shorter than that. So when she started labor for this one, we were anticipating, based on past experience, that it was going to be quite smooth. But that wasn't the case. The contraction didn't become more painful or longer. In fact, she spent nearly 24 hours having irregular contractions. Eventually, her cervix was not dilating properly. In fact, the dilatation of the cervix in between the time she first came to the hospital and then the following day was not too significant. And her blood pressure was rising a bit, and the baby's heart rate was also increasing. It was reaching the upper limit. And we just decided that it was safer for her to go through the cesarean section. So she delivered via CS. Even when we were talking a few days after she delivered, she was still wondering what happened. Especially in her previous history of very, very smooth and fast labor and delivery, uneventful deliveries. Why did this one happen? And that's it for you. When labor starts, every experienced gynecologist will tell you that it's not predictable. Many things can happen, and many anticipated things might choose not to happen. And that's why you're being prepared as an obstetrician to anticipate and tackle whichever uncertainty comes. And that was what happened. Eventually, she had to deliver via CS. It just shows you that many times, because you've had uneventful previous labor and delivery, does not mean that the other one must be that way. Just like what happened to my wife. So these three events really showed me how many times some of the things you anticipate do not really happen. But the good thing is that that's the beauty about being a couple that work together. You have each other's back. Sometimes when I want to be overwhelmed and I remember what my wife was telling me pregnancy is going through, I just shift my own aside. And then she also finds strength in me. And that's how we've been able to navigate the journey all through till we delivered our very beautiful baby girl. That's it too. So if you stayed to this point, I think now is the time to reveal the names of the girl. As usual, she will have the main name, the two tribal names. Then because she was conceived in Saudi Arabia, she will have an Arabic name too. We've decided to name her Ivy, IVY, which is God's gifts. And this resounds very well. We agreed on that like a few days after we found out that she was pregnant. Because that time we were not sure whether it was a boy or girl. We picked the name of a boy. I picked also the name of a girl, whichever it turned out to be. So when we found out that it was a girl, the name stuck. So Ivy means God's gift. And this girl is actually a gift because unlike the two that we even planned for and anticipated, this one came on our own, and it's a gift. A gift is not like a reward. A reward is something that you work for. She's actually God's gift to us. So Ivy is her main name. Then her tribal name from my side, given by my mom, is Anan. And Anan means gifts. Her tribal name, her first tribal name rhymes with her main name. Then her name from the mother's side is Tayaza, which means God will not abandon his people. That's a summary of it. I love the name. I really love the name because it resounds with the journey right from the conception to the delivery of this baby. A lot of things happen. And how we were able to find strength and find the resources, amongst other things, had really been God. We're actually looking forward to the future, knowing that we'll be all right because God will never abandon his son. So this child is a reminder of how life goes well, not because you're in control, but because you have a God that will not abandon you. Let me not preach. Her Arabic name is Nadia. Nadia means hope. We are more hopeful for the future. Again, not because things are within our control, but because irrespective of how things turn out, we'll still be alright because we have a God that will always take care of us because he cares about us and watches everything concerning us. Then we also have each other as a family. So thank you for joining this unusual naming ceremony, unlike the other ones that had been quite brief and uneventful. I hope you're really encouraged by something. I hope you learned something too. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and please join us in prayer again for this very beautiful baby. So, bye.